Well, the Saturday night main event comes to us tomorrow night from Madison Square Garden, but not before SmackDown tonight, one that does seem to be shaping up to be relatively big. They've got Cody Rhodes, Gunther, and CM Punk scheduled to appear, as well as I think Adam Pearce is going to be filling in again for Nick Aldis, who after his attack last week from Gunther is not going to be there apparently, but we will see. If they're going to do a SummerSlam match, then they probably will have something from Aldis, a message from a hospital bed or from something. I mean, if they're going Nick Aldis and Gunther, which it seems like they're going to do, then you would imagine Nick Aldis will be there in some form or fashion. So big night, I think, tonight for SmackDown. Big star power, and WWE certainly needs it, as SummerSlam has not sold out. As of this recording, they are 5,500 tickets short. They've sold about 25,000 tickets for night one, and they can have a capacity of about 30,000 seats. So they're trying, and the announcement of CM Punk and Cody Rhodes for the Undisputed Championship did not really move ticket sales. They went up about 650. That's essentially nothing. They went up a minuscule amount after the announcement of CM Punk and Cody Rhodes that many people believed would be a WrestleMania main event. They even said as much on television. But it tells you that the product is just not generally as hot as they'd like it to be. And they don't have stars that are white hot. They don't have those one or two big stars that are just needle movers. They don't. I mean, yes, CM Punk's a big name. Cody Rhodes is a big name. Brock Lesnar, huge name. Those are the guys that help move the needle. But they were expected to be there. And with the general consensus from fans that TKO is gouging them every chance that they can because they are unashamed to be the most money-hungry company outwardly that I've ever seen, then they're facing the backlash now. TKO is reaping what they've sown. TKO is getting what they deserve. They're seeing the results of their labor. They are now understanding that it's not just the ticket prices that are, I think, hurting the sales, but also the product. If you just improve the product, you could try to justify the prices you're charging. And they're not doing that. Or they haven't, based on the metrics. And I'm sure they would use ticket sales as a metric of success. They're all about not paying attention to the social media negativity, which is, of course, nonsense. But they certainly use ticket sales as a metric of success. And right now, SummerSlam ticket sales are not good. They're not horrible, but they would love to be able to say SummerSlam sold out. They're trying to get SummerSlam to sell out. It won't. They may have some walk-ups, some late-minute decisions, but it's a 2-day commitment for most people. 3 if you're going to go both nights and travel and everything else that comes with it from Minneapolis, which is also not the best destination to go to right now. If you're paying attention to the news, especially earlier this year, things haven't really gotten better. So it's not exactly a tourist destination. It's not a place that people would go to really do anything other than maybe visit people they know that are there. They don't go there for vacations. Not the best venue. Also bad timing from a lot of other worldly perspectives. So you compile all that on top of a product that is just not as hot as they would like it to be and increase ticket prices, and you have the end result of not a sellout and underperforming in sales overall year over year. That's the consequence of their decisions and of their creative that they've put forth over the last several months to a couple years now. That's what they get. And again, if they improve the overall product, they would be able to justify their prices as well, and you'd see more people. It all comes down to the quality of the product. That's really what it is. We've seen that people will be willing to spend whatever they want because of just the idea of credit cards, and you can use lines of credit like Affirm to spend whatever you want. And then, well, it's just an extra 50, 60, 70, 150, whatever a month. I can afford that. And people will take on debt. They will if they believe that what they're going to receive in return exceeds what they're paying. And right now, people aren't feeling that way about WWE. They aren't. So we'll see. We'll see. And WrestleMania, I think, hurts as well, because the general feeling online, and I don't want to hear that negativity doesn't matter online. It does, because these are the people who are going to be purchasing tickets or not purchasing tickets to your events. The feeling coming out of WrestleMania this year, with the overwhelming complaints of people online saying that the ticket prices are ridiculous for WrestleMania, Vegas did not sell well, then you're going to have backlash. You're going to have a lingering effect from your biggest event of the year to your second biggest event of the year, your only other 2-night event that they're trying to make WrestleMania of the summer be. And you're going to have backlash, and you're seeing it. So, I mean, I cry 0 tears for TKO. None. So, just the way it is. So, again, it's a lot of little factors, but the overwhelming one is just make a better product. Give us better stories. Bigger stars. Easier said than done. I'm not saying this is easily done. I'm telling you what the solution is. It's really that simple. Okay, so we're going to get into the Saturday night main event preview and prediction. That's going to be coming to you in a few minutes. But first, I want to welcome you and encourage you to go ad-free at patreon.com/WWE podcast for all of your ad-free needs. All right, let's go to a couple of emails first before we dive into the actual preview and predictions. This is from Joey. Joey says, here with another Michael Cole email. Oh, that's right, Joey. Yes, I enjoy this. Okay, here's a fun scenario. You and Michael Cole took a ski trip for the weekend. You both get some hot cocoa and cheap coffee because Michael Cole loves cheap coffee. You're in a cabin Michael Cole bought years ago from his WWE paychecks. All of a sudden, you both get snowed in from an avalanche. You and Michael Cole are calling for help with a walkie-talkie, and Michael Cole is screaming into it. Help, help, anyone. Me and my voice twin are stuck here in a cabin on the mountain I bought from my WWE paychecks. I have to be at Raw, and my friend Matt has a WWE podcast. Only to find out you both are stuck in their cabin for a full week until help can arrive. What do you do? How do you pass time? The only things you can eat in there are Michael Cole's canned food he bought from Publix in 2008 and some salty chips. Your only source of heat is a big itchy blanket Michael Cole's mom made from his small little stove. I'd love to hear how you would survive. My God, and the AI picture you created is creepy, but hilarious. The effort you're putting into this, Joey, is commendable, but disturbing. So in this very likely, almost certain scenario that I'll find myself in with Michael Cole, where we are stuck in a cabin because of an avalanche that has snow pouring in the windows. And what would I do? Well, I would probably, you know what? Here's how I'd pass the time. If we were stuck in there, say for a full week. Okay. I'd have a lot of conversations with the guy. I mean, I really would pick his brain. He's a wealth of knowledge. I'd love to hear the stories behind the scenes if he was able to go unfiltered. I'd love to know some funny shit that's happened to him. Some dirt, some things that maybe he isn't able to share otherwise. If I'm a trusted source and I'm a lockbox where I wouldn't tell anybody else, I'd love to hear the stuff that no one knows. But I would love to just pick his brain for a while. And yes, that would get old after a while. And I'd be saying, hey, pal, I really just want to get the hell out of here. I'm hungry. What would I do? How would I pass the time? Well, again, if I don't have any electronic devices and all we have is a walkie-talkie radio, I would be probably on the radio seeing if someone can get to us sooner. Because being stuck in a cabin with anybody for a week, snowed in, I would get claustrophobic, because if I know if there's a 1,000 pounds per square inch of snow around the cabin, thinking that I could die at any moment if the cabin collapses would be on my mind. I might even consider trying to dig myself out. I would just kind of like slowly do it through the window that I see you've created here through AI. I would kind of try to slowly dig myself out with Michael Cole and see how that works out. Maybe I can find my way to the surface. That's what I'd probably do after a few days. But if I knew I was only going to be in there for a week, maybe I wouldn't risk my life doing that. I may even have a counter, what I would probably do without him knowing. I'd keep a tally of how many times he says WWE, and I'd give like an over-under on it ahead of time. Like, oh, does he say it 40, 50 times while we're there? And I'd also challenge him to say WWE. I'm going to see if he's even capable of it. Does he have the ability? Is his brain wired in a way as such that he could actually change the way he says it to the way that 99% of the population says it? I really don't know anyone else that says it this way. It's too much work. Just do it yourself. Anybody can do it. It's not an accent. You're just overpronouncing the W. Nobody else says it the way he does. He's just exerting more energy than he needs to say WWE. See how quick that was? Even you know what? Kurt Angle might be his antithesis. Kurt Angle says it totally the opposite in under a second. So Michael Cole says WWE, right? We all know that. Kurt Angle, you ever listen to him say WWE? He says it almost sped up. You have to slow him down. He'll say it somewhat like this, WWE. He'll say it so quick, he almost doesn't pronounce the letters. So Kurt Angle is his antithesis. So, all right, this is getting crazy. That's your answer, Joey. All right. Going on to Dylan, he says, for the love of God, can we please see you do the Oba strut? Guys, you want me to do a lot of stuff. I don't know what it is. I mean, I figured it'd be a lot of product questions and Saturday Night Main Event and SummerSlam issues. But you want to see me do the Oba strut. My best friend does it all the time, and he's like 30. It's addictive. If you can't do the Oba strut, can you impersonate Roman Reigns and do a promo? I know you said before you can't do impressions, but man, it's wrestling and it's all worth a shot. Love the pod and the reviews. By the way, the only wrestler I've ever met is named Kazarni in 2008. I thought it was, or I was around 10 years old. He was at a store called Giant Tiger. Dylan. Well, Dylan, hope you're doing well. I don't know who Kazarni is. I'd have to Google it. But yeah, it's not a common occurrence. Running into wrestlers is not something you anticipate to do unless you're going to a show or you try to find the gym they'll be at before they go to the event, which is also difficult because there's so many gyms around and different franchise gyms and things like that. But outside of that, you don't really anticipate it. So it's always special when you run into a wrestler. Now, I mean, I'll be honest. I can't cut a promo. I know you say you can't do it. It's wrestling, but I mean, I'm not apt to do that. I don't have the skill set for it. I also don't have the context of what promo I'd be cutting or for who or for why or for what's, I actually don't even know if I've ever cut. No, I have. I have cut a promo before, a real one, at a wrestling school in Massachusetts. It was called, it's Chaotic Wrestling. I don't know if they're still there. They're just outside of Boston. And back in 2010, I attended a wrestling camp that you might have paid like $100 or whatever to attend. It was a few hours. They went over some of the in-ring items, talked about the history of the actual wrestling camp or the center, who they've trained, the wrestlers that have come out of it. Killer Kowalski actually came out of it. Those of you that are old enough to remember who that is or anything, probably not. But they've had some pretty big wrestlers go through there. I don't know if the Chaotic Wrestling Center or Chaotic Training Center, I think it's CTC, if I'm not wrong. But anyway, I attended back in 2010. I remember hitting the ropes, taking a bump. It's brutal. Those of you that think that it's a fun little bouncy house, it's not. It's essentially like landing on a piece of plywood. It is horrible. People don't respect and understand how hard it is to take a bump because you see it 100 times, hundreds of times on any given wrestling show. You take it for granted. You're just, you're sitting there, you're eating, you're sometimes falling asleep. But if you understand what it means to take a bump, anybody go take a bump in a wrestling ring. I encourage you to, because it'll give you a new respect for what the wrestlers go through. Taking a single bump and then also hitting the ropes. Just hitting the ropes. People think that is also super fun, bouncy, no problem. No, The ropes actually will bruise you, sometimes worse than the mat, because the ropes are made out of steel, wrapped in like a little, some thin material. The ropes are super tough. They're not bouncy. They're meant to be, it's part of the structure of the ring. So the ropes actually will bruise you. And the bumps are just brutal. And guys, so if anybody gets an opportunity to, I would encourage you to. Back to my story. So they cut promos. Everybody was told to cut a promo as well in front of the class, quote unquote. And I got up there and cut a promo. It was not good. At the time, I was trying to essentially be a Stone Cold adjacent. It was horrible. Somebody does have it recorded somewhere. It is embarrassing. So that is my only true promo experience. And I'm not going to reiterate that or duplicate that here. I can't. But the Oba strut, no. Here's the thing with the Oba strut. I understand it, but I haven't bought into it yet. Probably because of the way and that Oba has used it thus far. He comes out and does it as his entrance. But I don't like when he does it if somebody's already out there and they've cut a promo on him. It comes across too phony, too forced. If someone just cut a promo on you, are you going to seriously walk down to the ring with a straight face doing your strut? It's too performative. So you got to pick and choose when he does it. If no one's in the ring, I have no problem with it. It's just part of his entrance. Otherwise, it looks goofy. He comes out, and how do you keep a straight face? Like, what are you doing, dude? Does anybody feel that way too? Am I overthinking this? Probably. But I understand Oba's strut. I get it. It goes nice with the music. He's the ruler. Got it. But if someone's in the ring and they're challenging him to come out to a fight, or they just run him down in a promo, and then Oba interrupts, is the strut supposed to be intimidating to the person standing in the ring? What's the purpose of doing it if someone's in the ring, other than just, this is my entrance? You got to cut that shit out depending on the context of what's going on. It looks goofy if someone's already in the ring. That's how I feel about it. Okay, but he's not going to stop doing it. I mean, that's part of his gimmick. But I don't think anybody's thinking that way until maybe I brought it to your attention and you think, yeah, that actually doesn't make a lot of sense. Sorry, let's go on. All right, a couple more. This is Wes, and he says, it's been about a month or so since my last email with Saturday Night Main Event this weekend. I wanted to send my predictions, as well as some thoughts from the past week. I have higher hopes for this event, with it being in the Garden and topping off Fanatics Fest. It seems like they should be pulling out all the stops to give this weekend a PLE feel. Although the card doesn't seem to have that feel. But again, don't forget, it's Saturday Night Main Event. It's not supposed to be a real PLE. I don't know how you would categorize this. It's not, to me, a true PLE. It's just not. But I don't know. They're trying to make this a thing. I actually don't like it being a part of the schedule here, because you have to almost ignore it until it's on top of you, because there are always bigger PLEs after it. In other words, right after they ended the last PLE, right after Night of Champions in Saudi, they didn't even talk about Saturday Night Main Event, and they just went right to SummerSlam. And now I know SummerSlam is infinitely bigger, and they're trying to sell tickets, and they've had a lot of problems selling tickets. But my point is that they've just skip over Saturday Night Main Event, and all of a sudden, a week or two out, they're like, oh, yeah, I'll challenge you at Saturday night's main event. All right. Well, so number one, Bayley and Lyra, you're looking forward to this as both a fan of Bayley and really enjoying the new Lyra character after floundering around in the tag division. Here's to hoping we finally get a payoff with this new dark, edgy descent into complete madness. I have Lyra completely losing it in this fight and Bayley getting the win by DQ, probably setting up a future street fight. I guess Lyra could beat Bayley to a bloody pulp and take her out of action for a significant portion of time, but if booking history is any indication, we are probably going to see the former setting up continuing into SummerSlam. For the Women's Tag Team Championship of Brie and Paige versus Fatal Influence, there's only one way I see this going, and that is with Fatal Influence getting the win. probably with some interference, as it seems we can never have a heel team win cleanly in WWE. It is far time for Paige and Brie to go their separate ways. Will we see a Nikki return, perhaps costing being the determining factor in the match? Personally, I hope not, as I could go the rest of my life without Nikki Bella setting foot back in the ring, but I know I have heard rumors of this direction, which isn't bad, but honestly not interested in feuding. I'm not interested in the feud. There are so many more things to do with Paige. I think this direction would be a complete waste. Notice I'm not responding to this because I'm going to give my preview and predictions in a moment. So hang tight. The No DQ match, Danhausen and JD McDonough. I expect shenanigans galore. Every member of Judgment Day will be out there. I hope to see some comedic interactions with Dom and Zombie Miz and Kit. Matt Cardona will hit JD with a Rough Rider and possibly some celebrity involvement with some Knicks players. No chance Danhausen loses. The tag team match of CM Punk and Cody taking on Gunther and Sami Zayn. This match I can see going a lot of different ways, from a free-for-all brawl in which we get no winner as tempers boil over, a straight clean win by the babyfaces, a cheap win by Sami, or a submission by Gunther for one of them to make a claim why they should be a part of the title match at SummerSlam. Ultimately, I think we have Cody and Punk constantly try to outdo each other and show the other one up, closing out a simultaneous Crossroads and GTS for the win. I've also had a few thoughts on SmackDown and Raw. First being that I'm glad to see Roxanne getting some great in-ring time with the best pound-for-pound wrestler in the division. This Batista-like role of going in and softening up opponents for Liv prior to their upcoming matches has been interesting. I think everyone is honestly just waiting for Roxanne to betray Liv and move away from the Judgment Day. It seems a travesty that of all the classes of NXT call-ups, she's the only one without a singles title. Julia with the U.S. title and Stephanie McCare with the world title. In my opinion, she certainly seems to be the better wrestler and certainly is better on the mic. I can respond to this. Yes, and I would also expect Stephanie McCare to be returning very soon, if not at SummerSlam. She's been off TV for a couple months now, and from what I understand, she's close to returning. I wouldn't be surprised if she returns at SummerSlam or even at Saturday night's main event, possible. But I think that SummerSlam would be a more appropriate return for her, or just before or just after. So, but Roxanne, yeah, but we're all waiting for that. I think that she is going to betray Liv in the very near future and go off on her own. She should. Liv has also been kind of cold lately. Liv has cooled off. They haven't given her the mic as often as they should. That's where she really starts to shine. Her promo style and cadence and authenticity is where she really makes her money, so to speak. The Dom and Liv story has also kind of run its course. No one's really talking about Dom and Liv. That's not really interesting as much anymore. It's kind of time for them to do something, either split or reinvigorate the story. So, all right. Secondly, I'm ready to see Gable get in the IC title, and glad his momentum is picking back up as they spent too much time on his apology tour. I get with Penta to build a story for their match, and with Rey, not just because he's the face of Lucha Libre, but because of what he had to say in their interaction where he told Chad that he helped elevate Lucha Libre, and because he was used to set up his interactions with Alpha Academy that helped propel Maxine and redefine both her character and his. Finally, my SmackDown rant. Once again, I am frustrated with them continuing to leave Alexa Bliss as the fall girl to push Charlotte. Ever since Alexa returned to the Rumble, she has gotten some of the best pops from the crowd, but WWE continues. See how quick I did that? I Kurt Angled that. WWE. They continue to use her like an athlete past her prime to put everyone else over, even though no one compares to her on the mic, and she can go toe-to-toe with anyone in the division. She is way overdue for a title run, let alone an actual shot. I know there was a leaked original SummerSlam list that had her in the three-way title match with Rhea and JC Jane, but the way the booking has gone, it seems like she was there again to be the fall to protect Rhea and transition the title to JC, who is a fantastic heel, but not sure she would be ready to carry the division. Also, what are they planning to do with the women's title since we haven't seen Rhea in how long due to an injury? Thanks for all your work. So, Wes, last question first. What are they doing with Rhea? Well, she's injured, as we know, but they're just holding it kind of steady for her to return. If the injury was something more long-term, she would have already dropped the title or she would relinquish it, I should say. She would have already relinquished it if they felt that this injury was going to be something longer term, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. They would have had to have taken the belt off of her, but they probably said, well, she's just within her I think her recovery would have been just within a time frame that they could explain why she's not here, or it wouldn't be a huge problem if she's not here. So I think Rhea's really close, because why would you hold the title hostage for somebody that's going to be out for a long period of time? Makes no sense. It's just disrespectful to the championship, hurts storylines, and on and on. So that's my deal. And as far as Alexa Bliss, has been sorely underutilized. And it's not just this year. It's been for many years, all the way back to Bray Wyatt, when she was his mouthpiece and his, student or whatever, whatever you would label her as at the time. And she was creepy and cool. The doll was stupid. We know that. The doll was ridiculous. I never liked the doll. But even back then, she wasn't wrestling. She was somewhat regularly on TV, but she'd almost never wrestle. And then it capped off in what the hell was it? WrestleMania 37? Was it WrestleMania 37 when she came out and she had this black liquid all over her in some kind of horror movie inspired look? And it was just it made no sense. And by the way, it was never explained at all. So much of it was never explained. And then she never wrestled. She gets injured. She has a baby. Comes back. Huge pop at the Rumble. And yeah, what have they done? They've put her on TV. Not everybody can be at the top. I get that. But at least also give her the mic. You know what I'd like to see a team of? Just because I see a lot of similarities. Liv and Alexa Bliss. They both look the same. They're both shorter blonde women. So the look is kind of cool if you're trying to form them as a team. I think the look already speaks for itself. They look like a team just in my mind. But their mic skills are very, very similar in terms of ability. I love both Liv and Alexa on the mic. They make me feel the same way about their promos. So that's a team I would love if they're going to have teams. But Alexa Bliss as a single star, she needs to get away from Charlotte. She needs to stop being the fall person. I agree. So, yeah, I mean, what more can you say about Alexa? She probably isn't going to be the focal point of the division anytime soon. She is a big name in a division that has stars they're now trying to establish. Look at the new women here with JC Jane and her group. Lyra Valkyria, Sol Ruka. Go down the line. Alexa, I think is viewed as kind of the old guard. Not that she doesn't have ability or that she has a few more years or more left in her to have good matches and good programs. But if the focus is on youth and building new stars, then you would think that having Alexa Bliss at the top of the division right now is not in the books as they try to propel the newer talent. It's a difficult balance. Not saying I have all the answers. But just as a general statement, I would say Alexa Bliss has been underutilized for years now. Okay, one more. Then we'll get to my predictions. This is Matt and Emma in the Sheffield, UK. All right, across the pond. It says, "Hi, Matt. Really enjoying the show. Liked your take on Sammy and Punk. It was validating to hear. I would have loved to have seen what Sammy could do as champion. I wanted to see him descend further down that heel road, all while telling us he's the, quote, last real good guy. 2 questions. Which mid-carder would you like to see pushed to the main event? And now that we have Roman and Seth and Punk and Cody, who's going heel? Someone has to. Well, I will save that for potentially my preview because that moves into my preview and predictions, but it's really about SummerSlam as well. All right, well, I'll talk about it because it's not truly, I think, what's going to happen at Saturday night's main event. Who goes heel? If I'm going to say someone has to in both matches, which I don't think would happen in both cases, because you'd want the focus to just be one person. So I'll give you two, but then I'll give you out of the two, which is most likely to occur. Okay, if I'm going to choose someone going heel on Roman versus Seth, which one goes heel? Seth. Again. The reason is, if you listen to the crowd, when these two are battling on the mic, and they've had some really fun interactions on the mic, some of Roman's best work has been the last couple of weeks, particularly this past week. I would say Seth is, and the reason is you listen to the crowd, and the crowd, when these two are battling, seemingly side more with Roman. And that's not just been last week. That's been over the last several weeks. Roman is a bigger star. He's more of the face of the company than Seth is. Roman is more accomplished if you talk about WrestleMania main events being how you judge success. He is just a bigger household name than Seth Rollins is. Roman Reigns has achieved borderline legendary status. He is getting very close to being considered a legend. Hall of Famer, that happened like 10 years ago. But legend, would you say Seth Rollins is a legend? No, I wouldn't. I think legend is thrown around too haphazardly today. And I think Roman Reigns is much more of a legend, closer to, than Seth Rollins is. Not to take anything away from Seth, it's just the way things have lined up. On top of the injury problems that Seth has continued to have. They time out terribly for him. Seemingly happens at WrestleMania every single year. Well, not every year, but there have been occasions over the years where it has really been badly timed. So that, I think, has hurt him a little bit. But I would say Seth turns heel out of that. If I'm saying Punk and Cody, who turns heel? Someone has to. It's got to be Cody, right? It's got to be. Punk has not been a heel since he returned to WWE at Survivor Series. Was it 2024? I feel, or 23? Shit, I never remember. Whatever it was, a few years ago. He has not been heel since. Punk, I don't think, is nearly out of gas for his babyface run as Cody is. Maybe I put that really poorly. My words aren't wording today. Cody's babyface run has, I think, just about petered out. There have been many instances, I think, where you could have turned Cody heel, and they didn't do it. Against John Cena, WrestleMania against Roman Reigns. There have been instances where you could have turned Punk, but again, Cody has received some negativity over the last several years too, because his title runs have been very, very, very boring. Some of that is on Cody. Most of it's on creative. That had essentially no big follow-up to keep the momentum going with him as champion. And his runs have been exceedingly boring. After he finished his story at WrestleMania 40, the follow-up was terrible. Not terrible. Subpar. I won't go as far as to be dramatic and say it was horrible. It was underwhelming. Him as champion was not exciting. And Cody Rhodes, I don't think, has been nearly as successful in the run as champion as is the journey to become champion. But all of that to say, circling back, Cody has been a babyface longer than Punk has. Cody returned at WrestleMania 38. That was 4 years ago now, 4+ years ago now. Has been a babyface ever since. We've seen the same character for 4 years now. And it's, I think, time for a change. Punk, on the other hand, he hasn't been around as much, but there's more to squeeze out of this babyface run before they decide to turn him. There's more of an interest, I think, in seeing Cody as heel as well. We've seen heel Punk. If you remember the summer of Punk, he turned heel later on against The Rock. Begrudgingly, but he did. And we know what that looks like. Cody as a heel, as presently constituted from this particular version of him. We've seen Cody as a heel, but way, way, way back when he wore the face mask and he was dashing Cody and started all that. Like, yeah, okay, fine. But I'm talking about this version of Cody Rhodes, the bleach blonde, suit wearing, politician looking, manicured Cody Rhodes. That version of him we have not seen as a heel. There is much more interest in that. Cody is more than skilled enough to be a heel on the microphone. He already is essentially a heel. The way that he acts, looks, what's really, I think, holding him back is, number one, he's very skilled on the microphone. But I think also a big contributing factor is his music. His music has and was a big reason why people loved seeing him. It's a very participatory entrance. People love that song. It skyrocketed in the charts when he originally came back, and the whoa and the firework. It's a great babyface entrance. But it's kind of run its course. And even Cody has said, hey, when I turn heel, when or if that happens, I'm getting rid of that music. Absolutely. You know why? Number one, it wouldn't really work with his heel character, whatever that is. It wouldn't work. And secondly, it would also really signify that they're digging into a totally different character. They're not going to try to sell you on the same guy that's just a little bit different. They're going to go in full turn here. Full page turn. Maybe he dyes his hair black. We've heard that before. I'd love to see that. The bleach blonde 2001 NSYNC Justin Timberlake look is more than outdated. He's probably the only person that is keeping the industry of hair, dyeing your hair for men alive. I can't think of another guy, public figure, that is dyeing his hair as much as Cody Rhodes to a dramatic degree. I'm not saying going from gray if you want to keep your natural color. I'm saying bleach blonde. There's probably only like one or two providers in the country that do this for men. I'm being very facetious and sarcastic, but you get my point. So he will have to change his music, and he said he will if that happens. But he's already a heel. He's there. He just has to flip the switch. It's tailor-made. The interest would be huge. It would reinvigorate his character that has been feeling flat now for quite a while. It's not that he's a ratings, has negative impact on the ratings, but he's not a draw as much as he used to be because we've been there, done that. It's time to adapt. Or, Triple H, are you ready for this? Ready? I'm going to use it. Sit down. You probably get a little bit of an arousal from this. Cody needs to pivot. Ooh, you want me to say that again, Trips? He needs to pivot. All right, I won't tease you anymore. I won't say it anymore. 2 times is enough. Where the hell am I going with this? Cody needs to turn. I have been saying that for now a couple years. And he's capable of it. It'll be fun. It would create a huge buzz on social media. And you know what? When Cody goes back to being a babyface, which would happen, he'll come back a year, 2 years, whatever it is, bringing back that music, people would go crazy because it had been a few years since you've heard that music again. So flipping him back would be even bigger. It's just time. We're at that crossroads, pun intended, for Cody. It's time. Oh, I could go on and on and on about it. And the thing is, I've hammered his character over the last 4 years for being just so obnoxiously soft and pandering and so precise and too clean cut. And everything about his character from a babyface perspective is it's not everything. A lot of it I don't like. Can't deny his success. What the hell does it matter what I think? Doesn't matter. But it's also because I know how god dang good he could be as a heel. Even The Undertaker has said that, and his words carry infinitely more weight than mine do. Certainly. Oh boy. Maybe I'll make a video about this. You know what? I appreciate that. Matt and Emma from Sheffield, UK. I'm going to make a video very quick. When I do videos, it's usually 5 minutes or less, just for the sake of no one has attention anymore. But I'm going to post that on my social medias and maybe on my Patreon as well, regarding who turns heel first, Cody or Punk or something like that. I like this. Thank you so much. Okay, my preview and predictions. God dang, let's get to it. All right, so let's talk first about the Jalen Brunson stuff before we get to the actual matches and my thoughts on the matches. Here's how we have Jalen Brunson being advertised for MSG. So this is directly from WWE's website. So it says that this Saturday at Madison Square Garden, Roman Reigns and the King of New York, Jalen Brunson, will join up for an acknowledgement fit for the world's most famous arena. Reigns extended the invite on social media and Brunson accepted. Now that the World Heavyweight Champion will have the leader of the NBA champion, New York Knicks, by his side at the Mecca. What will Brunson have in store when he rolls into Madison Square Garden with the Tribal Chief? Don't miss Saturday night's main event, 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Well, Jalen Brunson, first of all, is not going to get physically involved, I hope. But the reason is he recently had surgery. He's also already preparing for next year's season. He recently had surgery, I think, on his wrist, his arm, something like that. He's not going to be getting involved physically. At least I hope not. It's also very fitting that WWE continues TKO's just wonderful growth strategy of bringing in celebrities. This one makes a little more sense given that the Knicks won the NBA championship for the first time since 1973. It's a huge deal, and it really is. Whether or not you're a Knicks fan, you can't deny that they're a massive market team that has been starved of a championship. New York itself has not had a championship since 2012 when the New York Giants won the Super Bowl. The Yankees haven't won a world championship since 2009, which is an eternity. The Mets haven't won a championship since, 1985? Was it? Maybe more? Actually, let me Google that. I apologize for my stops here. New York Mets World Series wins. Those of you, I know there are some of you out there. Sorry. 1986 against the Boston Red Sox. They won 4-3. So went to game 7. Anyway, so I was close. My point is, it's been a long dang time. So having Jalen Brunson, who was the overwhelming star of the group, the team, to join Roman Reigns is a big deal. It might bring some eyeballs to the product. It won't probably have staying power. I don't think anybody in the world is going, oh my God, wait. I hate pro wrestling, but what's Jalen Brunson doing? Well, god dang. He's going to be with Roman Reigns. I'm now a fan. Let me tune in every week. No one's doing that. No one's doing that. And if that was the case, well, wouldn't bringing in Jelly Roll and the massive star, obviously Logan Paul being a huge success on social media and bringing his fan base over, at least that was the hope of transitioning some of his audience into wrestling fans. And now Jalen Brunson and bringing in, of course, the beloved Travis Scott and WrestleMania 41 and Pat McAfee, Stephen Amell, actually, well, that was 2015. Bad Bunny for a couple of years. All of those, do you think they really had a lasting impact on creating an audience that was a sustained viewer? Or were they all hotshots? WWE can't be looking at any time they bring a celebrity in thinking that this is going to somehow, over the next months and years, bring in an audience that's even measurable. It may pop a quick rating higher than usual because of the celebrity involvement, and maybe that's all they give a shit about. I don't know. However, this will be interesting to see what they do. Fine. Jalen Brunson should have a hell of a homecoming response. I am very curious. He may outdo Roman's response. That's actually the most interesting part of this. Yes, someone will interfere. Roman will spear whoever. Maybe the latest bloodline member. Who gives a shit? I'm more interested to hear the response for Jalen Brunson for the first time in Madison Square Garden, publicly, I believe, since they won the championship a month or so ago. I'm very curious because they did not win the championship in Madison Square Garden. So they haven't really had a chance to shower any of the Knicks with love. Yeah, they had a parade. That's not the same. I think that's the first public appearance on a mass scale for Jalen Brunson back in Madison Square Garden. So that's going to be really interesting to hear the reaction. It's going to be deafening. So cool. I mean, it's a fine segment. I'm not against it. It just, this celebrity involvement obsession is just, I'm done with it. It'll continue to happen. So WWE, I'm sure, is very concerned about my criticism of it. I'm sure they'll just stop it cold because I have issues with it. So, as they should. Okay, so beyond that segment, it's going to result in somebody getting their ass kicked by Roman Reigns. Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, I really think this is going to be much like we had from our mailbag. It's probably going to end in a DQ or Lyra winning. Lyra should win. Why shouldn't she? She's got a very interesting turn. She is a bit of a Nikki Cross knockoff. Who cares? It's interesting. She's executing it well. Infinitely more interesting than her pandering, subservient, really immature character that she played with Bayley. This is a darker, deeper, more chaotic version of Lyra. Again, there's just no reason to have Bayley win this. And maybe it's due to ref stoppage. Maybe it is Lyra just beating her senseless. Where the referee, just after the 5 count, she has her in the corner, just constantly beats her down. After the match is over, Lyra takes a chair, tries to break her arm. Lyra should snap here. Bayley should not win. I don't even want to see Bayley win and then Lyra get her heat back and beat Bayley down after the match. No. I like Bayley. She's also kind of on the same wavelength to some degree as Alexa Bliss in being underutilized and really forgotten since SummerSlam of 2023, was it? When Bayley brought in Damage Control? Ever since that moment, Bayley has been cursed. But Bayley, sorely underutilized. That said, she is not ever going to be the focus of the division ever again. I don't think. Now she'll get work in. She's a name, a big name. And maybe she does things that nobody is expecting in terms of wins a championship again. She might. But Lyra is the star here right now. She's the one you're trying to elevate. And you can't have her get elevated if Bayley just goes over on her and that's it. And I don't want to hear, that wins or losses don't mean anything. You shouldn't put any stock. No, that's not true. If that was not true, then you wouldn't have matches to determine who wins and loses the match. You got to have somebody win and lose. Yes, how they win or lose matters. And that's really the biggest point. How does Lyra win? Well, you could, if you want to save face for Bayley and you want to push this to SummerSlam, and I do think it will likely get pushed there, you, just like the previous email said, you want to have Lyra maybe get a DQ, some kind of non-finish, a ref stoppage, where Lyra loses, but she didn't really lose because she beat the holy hell out of Bayley. I'm looking forward to it because this is a new character with a old established guard of Bayley. And I say old in air quotes. Obviously, she's not age old, but from just a perspective of women's division and evolution when it started, she's older. Okay, Danhausen and JD McDonough, no DQ. Yes, this is a silly get-me-up match. The crowd will probably pop pretty good for Danhausen, as they should. JD McDonough should not be overlooked. Beyond the hocus-pocus stuff that's going to happen, that's silly, and fireworks going off, and you are cursed, and all the magic tricks that are going to probably happen in this matchup, we know we're not supposed to take this seriously. JD's more than capable of having a serious match, but he's going to be used as a pawn to push Danhausen further. No doubt about it, and that's fine. If we understand what this match is supposed to be, I can accept it. And we know it's a silly, essentially exhibition, no consequence type of match that's supposed to be entertaining in the sense of not really about the wrestling. And that's fine. Danhausen has gotten over like gangbusters with essentially not even worrying about the in-ring stuff. He may be the first wrestler I've ever seen that doesn't actually have to wrestle to get over. It's incredible. So think about where Danhausen was, guys. Just 6 months ago at Survivor Series when he debuted to the disaster that it was. I mean, horrific, and I ripped it to shreds and I stand by it. It was horrible with that mystery box. Just a disastrous entrance. But ever since that, the next Monday Night on Raw, when he went to Adam Pearce with his Demandhausens, which is still a great segment, ever since that moment, flip the switch, bam. A merchandise machine. And good for him. He has been he hasn't really done anything, and it's amazing he hasn't really gotten over because of anything in ring. He could be backstage the rest of his career, not take a single bump, and still make a shitload of money with royalty checks. It's incredible. Good for him. All right. Tag team champions Paige and Brie Bella take on Lainey Reed and Fallon Henley. This is a slam dunk. Please be a slam dunk. Oh, by the way, I didn't provide. Let me give you the dang predictions here. So Lyra beats Bayley. And I say beats Bayley, again, in the context of maybe just flat out beats Bayley. You can have heels cleanly win. It is a thing that's possible, even though WWE doesn't do it. Danhausen beats JD. And in this case, Lainey Reed and Fallon Henley, I think, win the women's tag team championships. Because Paige and Brie Bella are just so boring. Brie Bella, as I said, we all know that Nikki was always better in the ring, and that's not me being complimentary to Nikki. It's just when you have a bar that low, who's better? Nikki was better. Paige has been stuck, sadly, in this purgatory of the women's tag team division. It's improved a lot, but Paige doesn't belong here. Paige belongs in the women's division as a single star. She has been, after the Rumble, has been buried in just kind of hidden in the women's tag team division. Almost no promo time, little to no reaction from the crowd. It's been a waste of talent and star power from my perspective for Paige. They dropped the belts here. If Nikki comes back, maybe she'll, I don't know, slip on a banana peel and tear her hamstring. That way she calls it a career. I'm not wishing for her to get hurt. Okay. I'm not wishing for any harm to happen to her. I'm just saying if that were to happen by chance, it wouldn't be the worst thing for humanity to endure. But sure, Nikki Bella, if she wants to come back here and to absolutely no pop, which would be even more fun, I think, than seeing her slip on a banana peel to a career-ending injury, I would like to see Nikki Bella come out, and there's this big moment. Maybe Lainey Reed, Fallon Henley, and her group are doing things to cheat, and they're about to win the tag team championships. And out comes the hero, Nikki Bella, to save the day, and there's no reaction. I'm talking nothing. I would actually take that over the career-ending injury because that's a shot to the ego. And that's what I think Nikki Bella needs more than a physical issue. So if you can tell, I don't really... Nikki Bella's not my favorite wrestler. All right. Bet you didn't pick that up. I have to be a little more clear. Okay, so at the end of the day, I think they do drop the belts. They just should. Okay, CM Punk and Cody Rhodes taking on Gunther and Sami Zayn. Fun main event. This is a big main event. This is worthy, I think, of Madison Square Garden Saturday Night Main Event level. It is. This is great. This should go 25 minutes and be awesome. There's going to be tension with Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. I don't think it's a way to get Gunther and Sami into the title match. I know that was discussed at one point, even in WWE internally, here on the show, other shows. It was discussed that these four could be involved in a fatal four-way for the Undisputed Championship at SummerSlam. I don't think that that's the case, but that does lead me to believe, beyond Gunther probably facing Nick Aldis, what the hell is Sami Zayn going to do at SummerSlam? What's his role? If he's not going to be in the match as a triple threat, which I would have no problem with, but if he's not, where do they put Sami Zayn after just being champion a few weeks ago? Did they keep him off the show? Did they make him special referee? What do they do? Interesting as hell. Sami Zayn is in no man's land right now for the biggest show, second biggest show of the year. After just being world champion a couple weeks ago. So Sami Zayn to me is the most interesting by far character in this match. I love Gunther. Him and Nick Aldis, fine. Aldis coming out for the first time as a wrestling on WWE TV, fine. Fun, good, whatever. Even though Gunther has been totally mismanaged after the retirement matches of AJ Styles and Goldberg and John Cena. He gets to face Nick Aldis. Again, no disrespect to Nick, but Jesus Christ. I mean, you're going to put Gunther in a match with the SmackDown GM. That's your big plan. That's your big payoff for your biggest heel on the roster at SummerSlam. Anyway, this match should be a blast. These four men, I couldn't think of four guys better suited to face one another to have a great match than these four. It's a tag team match. Yes, it's not a fatal four-way, but the chemistry between all four, it's unparalleled. We know what they all can do. And the tension between Cody and Punk is going to reach a boiling point. You know there might be some kind of stiff tag-ins or miscalculations or, did he mean to do that or did he do it on purpose? There's going to be a lot of that. Gunther and Sami Zayn, no one really cares about their chemistry. They're two heels right now that just have common enemies. There's no real concern about, is Sami going to turn on Gunther? Is Gunther? Nobody cares about that. That's not the story. It's Cody, obviously, and Punk, who are scheduled to face each other one-on-one. How can they overcome? Ultimately, I think they probably will overcome because they're the main event of SummerSlam. I still think it'll be one-on-one, despite the fact that Sami Zayn doesn't have really anywhere to go for SummerSlam. So I think Punk and Rhodes will end up winning. Tension. I don't want this to break down. I really don't. I don't want Punk and Rhodes to disintegrate and have them face one another at the end of the match, face off, and then it's a big brawl. I don't need that. I don't. If you're going to maximize the liquidity that this match has, you don't give any of this away until SummerSlam. Nobody lays a finger on one another. You build it through promos and video packages. That's how you build this thing right now. That's where the money lands, is in their promos, because both can cut great promos. So I don't want to see this break down. Yes, there'll be some tense moments. Somebody might hit somebody by accident, push the other one in front of the opponent. Like, fine. Yeah, there's going to be tense moments, and there has to be that to make the story make sense here, that they're tag team partners. And now they're going to be opponents at the next PLE. But I don't want to break down. I don't need these two at the end of the match disintegrating and then they lose. And then they brawl. That would be the worst possible outcome, is that they lose the match because they're quarreling with each other and then they just have a pull apart brawl. No. Please. I don't need that. So Cody and Punk win. And the more interesting piece to me, beyond the tension of Cody and Punk, that's fine, is Sami Zayn. What does his character do? Where does he go? What's his role at SummerSlam after losing the championship and going into a deep, dark depression? Because we know Gunther's path. We know Punk and Cody's path. Punk and Rhodes' path. We know that. Sami Zayn's the odd man out. Where does he go? So, let me know, guys. If you want to get your predictions in, you still can. There's still time. And I can still read them on the review show for Saturday night's main event, even though it'll be after the fact. You could also just give me your reactions to the show. It doesn't have to be preview. If you want to give me your reactions to said event coming up tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden, you can do that. We'll also be having Amanda's SmackDown review coming to you tomorrow. She's closing in on 100 shows already for this podcast. Crazy, right? Shout out to Amanda. Just does great work every week over there across the pond in the UK. So she's closing in on just a lot of time and effort. A couple of years now almost on the show, and I'm happy to have her as part of the team. Also, that reminds me, if anybody wants to fill the NXT review spot, please do. Send in your sample audio to mailbag@wwepodcast.com or mailbag@wwepodcast.com. If Michael Cole's going to be sending it in, I want to speak your language. Make sure you understand what I'm saying. So Michael Cole, you send it. You have a special box that goes to mailbag@wwepodcast.com. Everybody else goes to mailbag@wwepodcast.com. It can just be 5 minutes. Doesn't have to be anything long. And give me a sample audio, and maybe we can talk about filling that role. It would just be once a week, really as soon as possible. Wednesday at the latest, Wednesday morning. I want to get it up as quick as possible. Time is of the essence with reviews for wrestling. So that'll do it for me. Closing in on an hour for the show. So I'll be back with your review show Saturday night or Sunday for the Saturday night main event. Videos are going to be coming as well throughout the next couple of days. So follow me on X at wrestling_audio, and consider joining us on Patreon at patreon.com/WWE podcast. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.